Okay. All right, just getting stuff ready, guys, and we will go in a moment. Okay. All right. Hey, if you're just joining us, we're about to get started in a couple minutes. Just waiting for this guy to join up. 1 second. Okay. Oh, 1 second. He's having a little bit of difficulty getting in. Let me see. Okay. There we go. Oh. Hey, man, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, Michael?
How are you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Happy I was off of work. Off of
Nice.
work.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming today. Hold on 1 second. Let me fix something here a little bit. Okay. Let me go here. Set this up a little bit.
How's your day been so far?
Good, man. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, another day, just trying to level up in the world, trying to get to that 0 to 1 million challenge. That's my first goal.
Nice. No, dude, that's awesome. No, so I got a lot of good advice for you today, hopefully. So, okay, let me just post this here, get it all ready. Nice. Okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, so we got it all set up. So, I'm hearing a little bit of feedback from like myself on your thing there. Do you have like the speaker close to the mic or something?
Yeah, it's on my phone. Is this better?
Test.
Is that
Yeah,
better?
yeah, yeah. That's way better.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, great. So, all right. Well, everybody, we got our episode 2 of the show here today. We got Simon. He's a young entrepreneur. We're going to be helping him out the best we can today, hearing his story, and hopefully we can give him some good advice. So, thanks for coming on, Simon. We're sort of developing the show here to basically be tailored around how we can best help young people out. Now, I think the best place to start is maybe if you can go and tell us like a little bit about yourself, and we'll just go from there. So say like what your situation is, maybe where you live, and we'll just roll with it.
Yeah, man. No, that's great. Well, as Michael said, my name is Simon. Simon Senyen. So, as you can tell, I'm Jamaican and Chinese. I'm 27 years old currently, and for the first time in my life, I've moved out on my own. So I've been on my own for about a year and a half, and it's opened up a lot of, not doors, but it's opened up my mind to a lot of things. And, just like after, being young and kind of living, I'm trying to step into that next phase of my life where, I'm able to, use my time instead of, use my work or my business instead of using my time, for
For
money.
sure. So you're basically at a point now where you want to try and set up a business basically and get some income like coming in through that.
Yeah, as well. So I moved out here on my own.
And sorry, where are you
Um,
at?
I'm actually in Tallahassee, Florida
Oh,
right
okay,
now.
nice, nice. Okay.
I moved from Miami, Florida,
Mhm.
so it's a little bit slower of a pace up here, but I kind of like it. Lets me do what I have to do. What I do is what I'm currently practicing my profession, and the thing I think is gonna really blow blow the door open is trading crypto.
Mhm.
Um, During the 2020 pandemic, and when the markets crashed, that was my first time really getting into crypto, and I was able to see a lot of returns quickly
Mhm.
as the market maybe did a 8x or 800% on Ethereum. And you know like trading is and investing is like the number one thing for me. Like that's where I see myself, like where my money is leveraged
Mhm.
enough where I didn't need as much capital because I was able to leverage my money. So
Mhm.
leveraging your money there and like branching off and leveraging in other places like real estate and reselling
Mhm.
is pretty much what I would like to do. And build a brand, just build a brand so my legacy, my family's can go on.
No, that's great. Okay, so just to get a little bit better picture, so do you like are you currently like trading full time, or do you have like another source of income, or like what's your sort of a picture looking like? Like, do you have a job
Nice
also?
question. Well, so during the pandemic, I was able to trade full time.
Okay.
I moved out here with my girlfriend,
Mhm.
which I know I currently don't have a girlfriend anymore, so that's a thing.
Save some money, right? Yeah,
It's
nice.
probably a good thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
so, anyways, we moved up here, and I was using a lot of the money I made on crypto to pay either with rent,
yeah.
go
Mhm.
out and stuff like that. So currently, I am still working on a server at Outback.
Good.
So you guys come check me out. The nicest server because I know the future is gonna be so rewarding. And so yeah, I moved up here, and then I kind of went through most of my savings, and I'm still comfortably living, but
Mhm.
to balance out, the crypto markets have been down as well. So to balance some of that out, um, yeah, I got a job at Outback, but I am
Mhm.
a certified funded trader through my Forex funds, and
Mhm.
and yeah, that
That's
way
good.
I have less expensive. I don't have to take out of my crypto anymore.
No, that's
Trying to build
great.
it.
And that's where I was getting at, right? Because I remember when I was like really young. I don't know if you heard the story actually. I only said it one time. So when I was actually graduating from university, I was actually in school to become a doctor, and I was very interested in that at the time. But then I realized, like, look, I didn't want to go into it because I knew that business was for me. And I actually started out in business by doing a lot of trading with stocks also. So I would always like trade like biotech stocks and things like that. And I remember I literally did so much work on this one stock company called Adamas Pharmaceuticals, right? And I literally read through every like research paper these guys did, and I did so much work. I spent probably realistically like 100 hours just on this one trade because they were trying to get this one drug like approved through the FDA. And yeah, and it's just like I did all of this work, and I ended up being right, and the stock went up like 300%. But the thing was, it's like because I was like broke at the time, I only had like 5 or 10,000 into it. So it's like I did all this work and I only made like 20 grand, and it's just like, oh shit. So this sort of like this sort of like reinforced the idea that okay, look, you could be a genius, but you need like more capital to really like make these ideas hit. Right, so like you got so you got the great idea there with being a server, and it's like, man, you gotta do whatever you gotta do to make money. Like, don't ever think that you're too good for something or whatever. Like, even when even after all that stuff, like just to give you a little context about myself, right? Like even after I was trading and doing well with that, and I started learning about options, I was doing really well with it, but it was such a small amount of money that I couldn't really justify like doing it like full time and growing it from there. I figured like, look, I need to make more money first. So even at that time, I knew I was a good trader and I was good at like picking biotech stocks. I said, look, I have to go and just like eat my pride a little bit, go to the Salvation Army, start buying these books and start selling them like that. And that's how I really got into Amazon, right? So it's like, look, it's kind of the same thing for you, and this is being fully transparent, right? I had literally never been into a Salvation Army or Goodwill or anything like that before that point, and it's like I was there like thinking like, oh, I never thought like, oh, I'm too good for this or whatever. I just got out there and said, look, this is what I have to do to make some more money so that I can go and invest it and grow these things, right? And I was doing all the things like living in. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what were some of the items you first started with?
Yeah, so literally books from the Salvation Army. So I was literally going in, and like people think I'm like lying about this, but it's the truth. Like I would literally go to like the shittiest ones on like 8 Mile in Detroit because I grew up in a city called Windsor, like right across from Detroit in Canada, and I would literally go there all the time, and these people would be like, why are you buying these books? It's like we were trying to get rid of them and throw them out. And then like these managers would say like, dude, you don't even have to pay. Just take them for free because they're taking up all their space, right? Because like they like selling like the clothes. Like people go there to buy clothes typically and like CDs and stuff. So like nobody wanted these books. So I would literally go. I had a Dodge Journey at the time. And I would go drive over like 4 or 5 times a week, pick up all these books from the Salvation Army for literally like 10 cents each. And I wouldn't even like scan them or do anything with that there. I would literally just bring them home to my parents' basement. And I had like hundreds and hundreds of books like every couple days. And I would literally go through each one, scan them, see what I could sell it for on Amazon. And eventually I would find like a bunch of them that were for like $10, $20 and things like that. So I'm getting them for next to free and I'm selling them for like 10 to 20 bucks, making a pretty good profit on each one. And that's how I really got the cash to get going. So basically, yeah, as that pertains to you, like you need to like always try and have a plan where you can get access to like a lot of money to go and invest in your investments, right? So that's the key thing. So you want to scale it up. Now you're basically like trying to use a strategy of leverage, which is good. But the only thing is like you just don't want to get burned on it, right? So like if you're a good trader, that's an excellent skill set. But just keep in mind that like it is very important to build out your capital base too. So you might feel like I don't know, maybe you're in a point where in a year or something you think that okay, I want to stop doing a job now. But I'm telling you, keep that up for as long as possible because when you can get more income in and you build up that capital base, it's only going to pay like so many dividends forward, man. I'm telling you. And like you got to think about it too, right? Like you're young, you're roughly the same age as me, a couple of years younger, and you have like 40 or 50 years of like good game left, right? So it's like you're gonna have so much opportunity to grow this money, and this money that you're bringing in right now, it's gonna compound so hard over the years, man. So it's like this is exactly the key to like what you want to be doing.
No, that's awesome. That's a lot of insight. Funny story. Well, that relates to this. One of my friends from work recently was like, "Oh yeah, I got a book from Goodwill, and it ends out was like I think it was like a first edition. Forgot it. Oh, Great Gatsby. I think.
Yeah.
It was like a first edition Great Gatsby. So it was like literally like I don't know how much it put. Probably like 1,000x flip.
Yeah. No, it's great. Like the best flip I ever had from the Salvation Army actually. I literally pay 10 cents. So I saw this cardboard container. It was this big, and it had I don't know if you know that company called Intuit. They do like the TurboTax and all that stuff. It was like tax software basically, and it was just a cardboard box like this, and it was sealed. So I wasn't sure if yeah, no, you're good. I wasn't sure if there was anything in it, but I'm like, okay, whatever. It's 10 cents. Let me try it. It ended up being a legit $250 like piece of software. So I paid 10 cents and I sold it for $250. So it's pretty funny. And like people don't want to believe it, right? And that's the funny part is like I'm telling you, whenever you get into like these dirty areas where like people don't want to go, that's where all the opportunity is, especially when you're starting out. So it's like anything you can do to take like the amount of money you have and get like a big flip on it. That's what you want to be doing like right now. Like I'm not the guy who says like, look, go and invest in like S&P 500 and like, your $500 like a month or whatever. Like that's okay, but it's not the same thing as like, look, let's try and take this 500, turn it into like $5,000 by doing something intelligent that we have a skill with, and then then maybe we can look at buying some like risk off assets basically. So like so like right now in your sort of spot, you need to have the mindset of, look, how can I expand this capital base? How can I, get more money to invest in the assets or invest in the trading like a little bit later? You get what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Mm-hmm. That one idea I had that was kind of just like a little bonky or like a little weird. I've been thinking about for a while is just buying water and selling them just on the street, like literally, because water is probably $4, 24 in a pack.
Yeah.
And then you never know what somebody's gonna tip you for convenience or
100%. I'll tell you a good story about that. Okay. Do you know that guy Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he actually started out literally. What he would do is he would go and buy like ice cream from like the dollar store or whatever, fill up a freezer with it, go to the beach and like sell them all for like $4 or $5. So it's like what you're saying makes like total sense. Like that's what you're doing. You're basically doing the same thing that I was doing with the books. You're buying something for a cheap price and flipping it, right? The only thing that matters is like you get out and doing the work to actually do that. And like flipping, I'm telling you, flipping is the absolute best way to start when you have a little bit of money to try and make it into a big amount of money. Like think about this, right? Like you could work at a job, for example. Maybe you work there for 3 years and you manage to save up like $30,000 or something after your 3 years. Technically, you'd be able to buy like a small house or something with that. That's true because you can use that as a down payment. You have your like FHA loans, 3%, things like that. Like you could technically do that, but it makes a lot more sense to like take like look, 5,000, 10,000, or whatever amount of money you want to put towards it and start flipping it. Maybe you can do something smaller, like try and flip a car, try and flip some furniture, try and do things like that. Like anytime you can flip and flip fast, that's always going to do like wonders for you. Like for example, right? Like you always have to put things in context. So the S&P 500, for example, and that's pretty much what everyone says. Like, look, that's a good thing to invest in to grow your money over generations. That does 8% per year. Okay, it takes almost 7 years for your money to double. So if you had $100, you put it in the S&P 500, in like 7 or 8 years, you'll have $200. You can do the exact same thing by just like going like I did it in the 0 to billion challenge, for example, going and buying like 10 chairs for $100, selling them for 200 in like a day, right? So do you see how like look, by flipping things, you took what was going to take like 8 years worth of like S&P 500 returns, and you're compounding that in like a day or two, and you're getting all those gains. And that's really how you have to go about and think about taking your small amount of money and making it like bigger, right? When you're able to flip, you get these returns really, really quickly, and that's to your benefit, and that's what you need. Like you don't want to be spending your time just like trying to get like these small returns or whatever in the beginning. Like that's like for way later in life. Like right now, you got to be the mindset of bang, let's go get this. Let's expand our capital base as much as possible. Let's flip. Let's do the work, and let's really grow it, for sure.
Have you resold many cars before?
So my family, myself, not personally so much, but my family was literally built on like selling cars in car washes. So like my grandfather, for example, he's literally been selling cars since he was like 14 or 15, and he did it for like 60 years. So I saw that business firsthand, right? And he started from nothing, like dirt poor, like absolute poverty, like just the worst of the worst in like the 40s. And he would always go and buy these cars and flip them. And the best thing about that is like the used car market, especially right now, is still like extremely hot, right? And it's really simple. Like you have a great arbitrage opportunity with that. So you can go and look up the actual price of the car on average, and like you can there's all kinds of databases online to do it. So you can say like, look, on average this car is worth like 30,000 or whatever. Okay, well now I can check on my other sources like, you know, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace or whatever, and hey, someone might be selling that car for like 22,000. You don't know, right? Like that's your arbitrage opportunity. By you doing the work and seeing what's out there, you will be able to say, okay, I could buy this and potentially flip it for this, right? But like exactly. So you're buying it for $20, you're selling it for $30, and like all you're doing is buying it, taking a picture of it, putting it up, and moving it, right? And it's just like, think about how much easier that is to make that $10,000 in that example versus like saying like, look, okay, if you work and let's say you work like a minimum wage job or something, you make like $28,000 a year. That would take you about like 8 months after tax to make that same $10,000. Do you get what I mean? So it's like flipping basically gives you the opportunity to like greatly enhance your time. So it's saying like, look, I can get these results right now, earn that entire gap, and I can use that to build on top of things, right? And you can do this over and over and over. That's the best thing about flipping, is especially when you're starting out, you can certainly like replicate it, right? Like say you sell a car. It doesn't have to be a car. It can be chairs, it can be whatever you want, right? Computers, whatever, printers, like whatever you think, right? Whatever there's an opportunity in. And like what's stopping you? Let's say you sell a car, okay? What's stopping you from selling 5 cars a week or like a month or whatever timeline you want, right? Nothing. That's the best part of it. And it's like you get to a point where, look, once you scale that up enough and you're flipping all the time, okay, look, now you got a couple $100,000. Now you can go and buy nice things that you can like take a step back a little bit, right? Like once you got money, you can go and say, look, now I want to go buy some maybe like duplexes or something. Maybe I want to go buy some companies. Maybe I want to go. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's the game, man. You start out, you want to flip to get your money up. Then you can go take that money and buy assets with it. And then you grow and grow and grow. Like, man, it's really not that hard to set your life up for success, like really, really easily. But people don't think about it in the right way. They just think like too like narrow-minded or like short-minded, like, oh, you know, I'm going to go spend my money. Like I worked hard for my money. I'm going to go spend it on like shoes or something that's like I'm going to just use up, right? Like that's not helping you get rich. That's helping you like, you know, stay like poor basically, because you're not buying the assets that are going to produce the cash. So basically the best thing, again, start with flipping things. And when you flip things, you're able to make that gap really quickly. You take that gap money that you're making, invest it in assets, or invest it in more things to flip to increase that revenue, right? And when you start thinking like this, yeah, you're gonna build really quickly.
No, definitely. I hear that. I mean, flipping is one of the things I look for the most. I feel like, because I feel like it's percentage. It's like, you know, you buy it for cheap, and then, you know, you're able to make your 50%. If you 50 to, you know, who knows, 1,000%. Like, if it's the right, you know, flip. So that is definitely like where I'm gearing and going to. Like, I see that, you know, aside from trading, I've actually talked to my cousin that is my roommate now about, you know, like just getting stuff you see on Craigslist, Amazon, starting with who knows what. But what would you say would be the best thing if you had let's say you want to start with $1,000 to put towards assets? What would be something you go towards flipping?
I would do chairs, man. Like I don't know if you saw those. Like I think you did see those earlier videos in the 0 to Billion. I know you've been a supporter for a long time of that. Like the chairs are so good, and you can do it with such little cash. Like I was buying these chairs for literally like $5 to $10, some of them even free, and I was always able to sell them for like $30 to $40 each if they were in like good condition. So it's like, you know, if you had that $1,000, for example, you can go and say, look, I'm going to spend like $100 every day buying these different furniture things, and then you get a collection of them, right? So then after like a couple weeks or whatever, you spent your $1,000, you got all these chairs, you got tables, you got all these things that go with it. If you have the space to, you know, you might have to get a storage locker or something or whatever. You don't have to do this idea. I'm just giving you an example, right? And then you go on Facebook Marketplace, you start putting nice pictures of it, and don't be lazy with the pictures. Put it on a nice background, take nice pictures, and you put up what you got there. You can. Do you have a car by chance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So you can say, look, I'll deliver it for $5 or whatever. And then I'm telling you, the amount of people who like paid the extra money to have it delivered, and they were only like a few minutes away, it was crazy. Like I was literally driving around. So like I have like my medical company, right? So I was literally spending my days in my medical company, and then I would literally get my employees to help load up my car after work so I can go and drive and drop off these shares. And they thought I was insane. So if like I'm okay doing it, like dude, you got to be okay doing it, right? But it's like, look, it doesn't matter about them. I'm here to like show people how to do this, right? So yeah, so that's what I would do. Like anything, like most of the stuff you don't even have to spend money on. Like you can just go like on Facebook and look up free furniture, free chairs, whatever, and don't get the stuff that's like beat up or whatever. A lot of people, what happens is they just want to like move, or maybe they want to downsize their house or something, and they don't like have a plan for all their shit, right? So it's like you go there and like you pick it up. Even like estate sales, things like that, you can get them for like pennies on the dollar, right? And that's what you gotta do. You gotta be like saying, okay, how can I get this stuff? You can get it, like you said, just to repeat it. You can go search for free on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or any of those things. Like there's always something for free for you to get. 100%. Find stuff you like, bring it home, take nice pictures of it, and then like put a little description, say you'll deliver it for like $5 or $10 or whatever you want to do, and then just go like that. Like that's for sure what I would do.
Great, thank you. Thank you. So when would you start? Well, I guess you've already been showing this in the challenge, but you've kind of stuck with solely toys and games. When would be your next item that you're like, okay, it's time to really upscale?
Yeah, I think about that a lot, and it's just more about the opportunities I see in the world, my kind of feeling on it, and this is a very good question. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to say, okay, have I squeezed every single penny of like what I'm doing like right now? Have I squeezed every single penny of it? The answer is yeah, exactly. And it's like, look, I know just from like my knowledge and stuff, I can scale this Amazon to about like $10,000 to like $15,000 per day. And I know it gets a little repetitive or whatever for me saying like, hey guys, I sold like $1,000 worth of toys today or whatever. But it's like, man, it's whatever. It's the truth. Like I didn't do this to be fake, right? I'm doing this because I'm showing you. And I'll give you a very good business lesson in a minute about the hedgehog, okay, and why I do this. But I'm just gonna keep building and building and building. And it's like there is no reason why I should sort of sway away from this right now, because it's just another example of flipping, right? Like I'm buying a lot of these stuffed animals for like $10 to $12, selling them for like $35 to $40. Now, the thing is like that's kind of a skill that's unique to me because I have like 7 years of like product like experience basically. So I'm very good at identifying these opportunities. So that's why I don't tell people, look, I want you to go like sell these wholesale things on Amazon too, because most likely you're going to lose a lot of your money, right? Because you don't have like the not just the mindset, but the experience I have in this, and it can go wrong. And I know I make it look easy, but it's not. I promise you. And that's my thing, right? So I know that given the difficulty of this business and my skill set, I can scale it to like 10x more. So then when we get to a point where, okay, we're making like 10,000, 15,000 a day, whatever it may be, okay, then we're making like maybe like $5,000 to $6,000 a day in like net profit or whatever. Then I'm pretty sure I'm either going to do one of two things. Either start buying like multifamily houses or maybe buying businesses for it. So one of the things I was kind of thinking about is like, okay, maybe doing like partners with maybe people who are like watching the challenge or whatever, and like letting them like run some of it and things like that. But I don't know. I didn't really figure that out yet. So like my default will be real estate, but if it's not real estate, we'll be buying companies basically. Maybe some crypto too. Like I'm a big crypto supporter, 100%. I love yeah.
Have you? What was your favorite coin last bull run? Or we've been in the bull run kind of this year, but
yeah, like I like yeah. And this is not financial advice, by the way. Anyone watching, don't at me. It's just like yeah. No, the two I like Bitcoin, of course. You know, I like Ethereum, and I like Hedera. It's pretty cool. It's a smaller one. It has some infrastructure stuff on it, but there's so many cool ones, man. Like I like I don't invest as much into like the gaming ones like Gala and those ones, but they're pretty cool too. So like, there's no doubt like in the next bull run, I'm gonna be buying like a bunch of that stuff too, 100%.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely emerging asset. CBDC is gonna launch soon, and
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and there's like there's all these old people who have these like self-limiting beliefs. And they're like, "Oh, like crypto's a scam," and it's like it's not going to be big. It's like, "No, man. It's going to be huge." I am like pretty sure of that because it just makes sense. And like one of the things on this topic quickly, because I want to get back to like a good lesson for you, is like people don't even realize that most like retail spending, like the people who spend like money on the credit cards in like shopping is women, right? And the thing is, this is a very interesting point that not a lot of people know. So women do like a majority of the retail spending. They are also the most conscious about like fees and things like that, and like transaction fees, right? So when crypto becomes more mainstream and you're able to say like, look, you can go pay like a 2% fee like doing a Visa transaction, or you can pay like 2 cents using it on like a crypto
that's good
coin.
stuff.
It's just gonna like throw like huge light bulbs off. They're gonna be like, okay, why am I paying like 2% on this over here with this fee when I can just go and get it for basically free, right? And that's the same thing as the merchants too. Like, um, you know, like 3 or 4 years ago, just in my medical company, we were paying over like $200,000 a year just in credit card processing fees. So that's like I'm paying like Chase Bank. Like $200,000 just to like
Just
collect
for
the
you,
money
sure.
from my customers. Like, isn't that insane, right?
That
Yeah,
is,
it's just
man, crazy.
yeah. Question: how safe is it to buy crypto? Yeah, no, it's pretty safe. It's just yeah, you have to realize it's a speculative asset, and it could go down, but on the long term, I think it's pretty good. So good question there. Yeah. So going back to your question earlier about why I'm sticking with Amazon for now and growing it, and one of the best business lessons I've ever had was this philosophy of the hedgehog. Okay, now I'm assuming you know what a hedgehog is, right? That animal with
The
the
Sonic.
squirrels. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So their natural predators are foxes. Okay, and they live in like forests and little burrows and things like that. Now, the best thing to do is to compare the hedgehog and the fox. Okay, the fox is way smarter than the hedgehog. It's faster. It has claws. It has better hunting techniques and all these things. It has every single advantage over the hedgehog. And I don't know how much you know about hedgehogs, but basically they stay in these dens, okay? And they only sort of come out at night to forage for food. Now, the fox doesn't want to go in the den because it's kind of like scared of that and it might like get attacked or something. So it can sense that hedgehog is in there too, and it can like smell it and stuff. So the fox, being so intelligent, it stays around the den and it waits for this thing to come out at night. So remember, the fox has all the advantages. It's smarter, it's faster, it's all of these things, right? But then the hedgehog comes out, he's just looking for like bugs to eat or whatever, sees the fox, and then what happens? It literally just curls in a ball and the fox loses. Like, do you see like the concept here, right? The fox has all the advantages, but never wins because he's trying to do all these other things. Whereas the hedgehog, he's just doing his one thing. He's literally just saying, "Look, I'm a hedgehog. I see a predator. I go in my ball. Okay, like this. I have all my spikes. I win." And it's just like if people thought like that in business, I guarantee you there would be like 500 times more millionaires today. Because you just have to be good at one thing. You don't need to be good at like 76 different things. You pick your one thing, you stick to that, and you just do it over and over and over again, and that's how you really build things up. Like, I'm telling you, man, I've met so many people that think, oh, I'm so smart, I'm so this, I'm so that, but they don't get it done. And they don't get it done because they're always thinking, oh, what's going to go wrong? Oh, where's this like information that I don't have and all these things. And they're not focusing on just being good at one thing and doing that. So that's something for sure for you to like pay attention to 100%.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, that's how I was thinking about, what I do crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was really had to get locked in for about, it's been probably 3 years now. So three years I've been, probably I look at the market at least once a day,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's just like I've been locked in on crypto so long. I feel like I do need to go and make some capital,
Mm-hmm.
capital work in the real world because that crypto money is just
It's hard to
it's doing
touch,
a
isn't
lot.
it? Yeah. No, I got you.
But more, it's easier to make money when you have money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
100%, man. Like it's funny when I was pretty much like broke and didn't really have anything. I thought, oh, the thing that's holding me back is money, and like that's true to an extent. But the thing is, like your problems change like when you have money, right? It's like when you're broke, you only see it like, oh man, I need more money, which is true. You do need more money, but you also need to develop like skills to know what to do when you have this money, right? Like I'm sure you know like countless examples of people who like came into money and lost it, right? And the thing is, it's like when you are making more money and you're like leveling up in the world, your skill set also has to level up. And the best way to sort of do that is to be around people who are, more accomplished, who know more than you, who you can talk to, learn from, because your skill sets change all the way, man. Like when I was starting out, just selling books, the only skills I really needed were, okay, can I like scan it on my phone and say, hey, is this a good book or not, right? Because I don't want to send the bad books to Amazon because then I'm just going to be paying like storage fees and it's not going to like work out, right? So that's the only skill I really needed. Can I keep driving to the Salvation Army, buying these books, finding the good ones, putting them up on Amazon, right? That was the skill. But then I'll give you an example. We keep growing from there. Then I bought my medical company, for example. Those skills I had before were useless in like what I was about to do. You know what I mean? Because I needed to develop like, look, okay, now I'm in charge of people. Now I need to manage people. Now I need to know how to do like payroll. Now I need to learn finance. Now I need to, learn how to read financial reports and all of these things. So just imagine if I didn't develop those skills, how much of a disaster that would have been, right? It's like, look, even though I made all this money with the books, I wasn't able to continue it because I wouldn't have developed those skills necessary to maintain that. Does that make sense?
No, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely does make sense. And yeah, as you go along life, you just you acquire new skills and you see it through like different lenses. But
Mm-hmm.
you never lose it.
Yep.
I feel like you learn from all everything we go through.
Oh, 100%, man. And like, we didn't really talk much about your childhood or anything, but like, I guess I would just ask you, like, when you were growing up, did you guys like encounter any like financial issues, or like, did you grow up easy? What would you consider it, or like
Um,
hard, or?
I lived in probably a middle class
Mm-hmm.
family, but I was raised with a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's still around, but he has his wife. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my mom was a little bit more. My mom's side of the family probably had a little bit less money or harder times. But yeah, my dad's side of the family is we're middle class,
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
That's good, man.
So
Like, yeah, the whole thing is like, look, anything you can pull from to like motivate you to do better. Like, look, wherever you're at, you gotta think, okay, look, this is where we're at. This is where my mom's at. How can I get to the next level to pull those people up? Because I'm assuming like you love your mom and you want to support her, right, and all those things. And like the thing is to really start pushing to these next levels and level up, your reason why you want to do this has to be so strong, man. Because I'm telling you, like it only gets harder from like a mental standpoint, right? Like yes, like making money is easier once you have money, 100%. That's like without question. And people will move like heaven and hell for you once you have money, right? Because everyone wants to work with you. But you need to be ready for the mental challenges. Like man, like some days, like look, okay, maybe I made like $250,000 today, and like okay, that's great, but sometimes the shit that comes with that is so negative that it just trumps it all, right? And if you don't have the mindset to know how to deal with this stuff and to have a real strong reason as to why you're doing it, you're not gonna make it, right? So you need to be like honed in on that. Like, why am I doing this? It's not just for, oh, I want a nice car or whatever. It's because I need this, right? I need this for my mom. I need this for myself. I want to level up to like help the people that I love. and
Mhm.
support, right? So it's like that's what you always have to be thinking of, and you should have this as sort of like a affirmation in your mind. Like you get up in the morning, okay, I got to go do my best today, right? I got to go do X, Y, Z. I got to do whatever I got to do, and that when you start thinking like that, that's like every single day, and you get in this habit. That's what's really going to push you forward on those terrible days, man.
That's well said. Do you feel more responsibility now that you have money?
Oh
Like you,
man, it's crazy, man. Like the way you kind of have to think about it, right? Is I have about 50 employees now total. I'm not just responsible for like making sure we have
Mhm.
inventory, man. I'm responsible for these people who are like supporting kids. They're supporting their spouses. They're supporting their parents, and like every decision I make is directly affecting these people, right? And like I don't have it in me to say, look, I'm failing today, so like we're just gonna fire all these people. I can't do that, right? Like that's not in me. So sort of like the thing I have to do to alleviate that is say, look, every single day I got to give this my best. I can't miss. Because the second I miss, the company's not going to be in as good of a spot, and that's going to harm all these people that I care about. So the responsibility is like orders of magnitude more than
Mhm.
I had before. Like before, like when I was just starting out, okay, like what do I have to lose? Right? Like I'm living with my parents. If these books don't sell, whatever, I'll go find something else to sell. Right? Like that's it. And I wasn't like taking loans out for the books. That like, remember they were like 10 cents, so it's like I had nothing to lose. It was just my own money, and I was like gaining skills. Right?
Mhm.
Now, man, we're talking about like tens of millions of dollars every single like quarter, 6 months, whatever. I have so much to lose, and it's not just for me. It's for all the people that work here. Again, it's for like my family members. It's for everyone that's like supported by like what I'm doing, right? So it's like when you
Mhm.
have something to lose, you just innately have a lot more responsibility for what you're trying to do. But the thing is, when you have a lot to lose, some people they want to take some risk off the table and they want to step back and they want to get a little comfortable. They say, "Oh, this was cool when I was like 22, but now I'm like 30. I don't know anymore. I'm not that hungry. I don't want to take all this risk." And it's like you can't have that. You gotta go after it, and you always have to have your like day one mindset. It's like when I was a kid, like selling those books, like man, I didn't think like, oh, I'm doing this to be, have a $10 million net worth one day. I said, no, I'm doing this for like all time legacy. Like I'm doing this to be like a billionaire one day, right? And I want to look back on this in 10 years, 20 years, whatever, and say like, hey, it was all worth it, right? So it's like that is why I don't allow myself to think I have something to lose, right? So I'm always going after it because I know where my like goals and my dreams are. And the other thing too is like, look, even if I lost it all, I would make it right. I would go and start rebuilding it from day one, right? Like if I hypothetically like got my entire net worth wiped out like tomorrow, I would be back in that Salvation Army selling books.
Mhm.
100%, man.
Well, you could probably start with chairs.
Yeah, you're right actually. The chairs are better. Yeah, yeah. You are right. I'll take that back. So if you are right, good one. Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, Here, let's see. I had a question.
Sure.
How do you maintain like your like work life and like personal life?
Mhm. Yeah, see, like you got to think about what's important to you, right? And I think my life is very different from most people. Like a lot of my friends, they're basically in a position where like okay, let's say you have like a primary group of like contacts in your life. Like say like your mom, say like your best friend or whatever. Normally that's only like 3 or 4 people that are like your core like best friends, right? Then you sort of have like a secondary group where it's maybe like 15 or 20 people that you like a lot, but they're not like your brother or whatever, right? In my life, I basically spend the vast majority of my time with like the few people I care the most about, and I'm definitely lower on the spectrum of spending time with that like second group of people. Whereas like most of my friends, they spend the most amount of time with that secondary group of people, right? So basically, every single day I go to my medical company. I spend like 9 or 10 hours there. Then like I'll always spend about like an hour a day just talking to the people I care about like the most, like my parents and grandparents and my brother, and that's every day. So I spend like an hour doing that. I go to the gym every day, and I do the 0 to a billion challenge updates and all those things every day. And then outside of that, I'm usually like working on new stuff, like planning things and doing things like that. But the thing is like when you work really hard, you think, okay, like where does like the sort of like fun come from and the amusement, right? I also go on vacations all the time, right? And I'm also going for dinners with my friends and spending like $2,000 on like a restaurant, right? Like I do that all the time, and I'm not saying that to like humble brag or do anything like that. I'm just saying like, look,
That's
I
life.
work, yeah, like I work extremely hard, and like when I have time to have fun, I go all out on it, right? So I'm like both spectrums like really hard. Like I'm basically not in a position where like I'll go and like coach like a basketball team or something, right? And do that for like 10 hours a week. Like that would not fit like what I'm trying to do, right? Like, but I try to go like really high end on like whatever I'm trying to do. So if I'm trying to work, I'm trying to work at my best. If I'm trying to like hang out with my friends, I'm trying to have like the best experiences with that, right? That's just how I kind of do it. I don't know how like replicable that is for most people because most people kind of don't do it that way. But that's just how I do it.
That's cool, man. No, that's nice to hear. I like to also do that. Like it's not probably on that level, but if we're going out, I'd like to buy a round of drinks or
Oh
be
yeah.
generous. But yeah, especially with the family and the ones that
Hmm.
are close to me.
Oh, one of the
Um,
yeah, like to that point, one of the best things I do, like that just brings me so much personal joy, is saying like, look, bringing like a close friend or like a family member or something to like a ridiculous meal or something like that, because like they think it's crazy, right? But it's just like, no, man, this is just like me giving back to you. Like this is nothing. Don't worry about it. Like that brings me so much joy, right? For sure,
yeah,
100%.
that's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, who are who are three people that you look up to?
That's a very good question, actually. So I think number one for sure would have to be my grandfather. Like this guy literally started with absolute nothing, like zero. Like they were dirt poor, and this guy had like zero opportunities, zero anything ever in his life. Like when he was young, he literally lived with like six brothers and sisters and two parents in one like house that had like two bedrooms. So like him and all of his brothers and sisters stayed in one bed, like one bed in one bedroom, right? And they got like every disease known to man, like measles, mumps, rubella, like cholera, all this stuff. And it was so bad that like the Red Cross literally came to their house and put a red X on their door because they thought they were all gonna die. Like this level of
Wow.
stuff, right? And this guy, like, given all of these things, was like determined to be successful. So like when all of his friends, when all of his families were like extremely poor and all those things, he literally went and started like a little business. He started like washing cars by hand and like detailing cars, and he just built it up, built it up, built it up. And it's crazy because like his father actually had a bit of like animosity towards him, right? And
Mm,
he was in a spot where my grandfather was like 18 or 19 years old, and he had made a lot of money, and he wanted to go and buy a huge apartment building, right? Like at that age, and which was insane. And his father, like at the time they had some stupid rule where you had to be like 25 or something to like buy this thing, or if you weren't, you had to get your parents to sign off on it. And his father, out of spite, would not sign it because he didn't want to see him doing better than him. And
and
like,
that's family too.
yeah, exactly, right? And he's like, if that was me, I would have went crazy, right? Because it's like I know my parents would never do that to me, but he's probably like the most composed person like on the earth. So he saw that, whatever, he's like, okay, whatever, I don't care about that. I'm just gonna go get married, buy a house, and I'm just gonna keep building up my businesses. And then eventually he built car washes and all these businesses. So he's a multimillionaire. So seeing like where that man came from to like where he ended, despite like all this bullshit, like I don't know how else you can like say that other than like it's a miracle, right? And I have just so much respect for him, and like for sure someone I look up to 100%. And I guess maybe so like family, obviously, like my parents too, like huge role models. Like my dad came here from Lebanon when he was 17. He couldn't speak English, and he just worked really hard as like a hairstylist, and basically got his own salon and really built himself out. So I have a ton of respect for that too. And then, so obviously I have a lot of respect and look up to like a couple key family members, but outside of that, I think it's important to say like who do you actually look up to in the world that you don't even know, right? And I think you look at someone like Elon, for example, and you say like, look at what all the things this guy's attacking. Not even saying like, okay, he's accomplishing it. He's attacking like space. He's attacking like this PayPal, like Twitter stuff, like all this like payment processing stuff. He's attacking like solar energy. He's attacking like cars. Like it just makes me think, man, this guy's doing so many different things. Like what am I doing, right? Like I think it's very important to look up to people who are like doing way better than what you're doing, and say like, look, that's what's possible. You got to like push yourself to do that, right? Like that. So those are the people that I really look up to, and I've really been fortunate in my life to through like connections and things like that to be able to meet like a lot of billionaires, for example, when I was really young, and get a lot of really good lessons from them. So I'm very good friends with Australian billionaire too, helped me out a lot, and it's just you always want to be looking up to people who are like where you want to be or just like doing amazing things. And I've been very fortunate in my life to have a lot of those good people.
Yeah, that's dope. That's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we're getting up to like an hour now, man. Is there anything else like I can do for you to help you out a little bit, or any other questions you'd like?
I mean, I would just like to probably keep in contact with you if
Sure.
you could, like, have an open line of communication. That would be, help.
Sure. Yeah, you can message me anytime on Instagram. That's the best way. And yeah, like remember, so just going back to like your plan, right? Like do as much as you can to expand your capital base, and go like work whatever jobs you can, make some money that way. Try the flipping stuff. You can go flip chairs, try that idea with the drinks, whatever, ice cream, whatever you want to do. Like go and buy it, and just go to the areas where people want it, right? And don't worry about being all official and getting like reseller licenses and all this crap. Just go out and start flipping things and do it, right? Like don't become official before you've made it, right? That's a big mistake people make all the time. So go and do that, and then you make more money, and then take that money and go into assets, right? So you can put more towards your trades, more towards your like if you want to buy assets like houses or whatever, and you start getting that income coming in. And I'm telling you, man, you're going to be in a fantastic spot. Okay.
Yeah, cool. No, yeah, Michael, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff we went over. And yeah, I look forward to the content and and seeing where your journey takes you. But I had one more question.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think the challenge will be completed? Like, what's your time estimate?
Man, you're putting me on the spot here. Well, I'm trying to make probably like 1 million or something next year, and then honestly, it could be like 12 years, it could be 15, but it just depends. Like you're gonna see, like once I make like 1 million or something like that, I'm gonna be buying companies most likely, and it really depends on if I hit or not on that company. So if the first real asset I get is a hit, then it's going to be like really easy going forward from there, because like once you start buying companies, and buying companies is like the hardest thing to do, by the way, and like managing them and stuff. When you get one that really hits, it's just so easy because it starts printing money like crazy. You use that to buy more companies, to just build, and you do it on the back of like commercial debt. So I can go and buy the company from like a bank and get like a 4% loan on it, and the thing's making like a 30% return. So I make that whole gap, right? And then I take that money, go do it again, buy another one. So that's probably how the majority of the challenge is going to go. But it all depends on if how good I am that day, man. That's the best thing about the game. It doesn't matter like what you did yesterday. It's like in that day, when that day comes, it might be in like 4 months, 6 months, whatever, or maybe a year. I don't know. Whenever that day comes, when I'm in the position to buy a company, I need to be a superstar that day. And when I am, that's when the challenge is going to get like so much easier and shortened down, 100%. I'm telling you, it's the difference between that one day, that one decision is going to like change the challenge by like 5 years. Trust me. 100%, man. Yeah.
So it's give or take 5. Okay.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, thanks. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming out, Simon. I mean, this is a great episode for sure. I know a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this, and we're going to probably like clip it up too and spread it around. So thanks so much for coming, and have a great night, man.
Cool, man. Have a blessed one.
Yeah, you too. See you, and good luck, okay?
All right, Michael.
See ya.